You guys have sent me a lot of questions about salary negotiation in Germany and job interviews and so on. And I've picked out a few questions that I would like to answer in this video, some of the most frequent asked questions by you. So let's take a look at the questions you've sent me. So the first question that often comes up is it common to negotiate salary in Germany? So in general, I can say yes. It's common to negotiate salary, so that's a good thing, right? I know that for some of you it's tricky to negotiate salary. It's sometimes not such an easy topic, but yeah, it's common. It depends a bit on the kind of company you're applying to. Of course, if you're applying to a corporate, for instance, they may have fixed salary structures in place or fixed tariffs in place, and then it gets a bit more difficult because they have an allocated budget and they're probably less flexible. But still, you could ask how they came up with it, if they have a fixed salary framework in place or not, and then see how they classify your previous experience. That's something that's sometimes negotiable. So in general, the answer is yes, it's common to negotiate salary in Germany. So dare to do it, it's worth it, I would say. Then let's take a look. What other kind of questions did I get? Yeah, another question that's really common. So a lot of you guys have asked me, when we talk about salary expectations in the job interview, then often you have this question coming up. So what's your salary expectation? So is it better to go for a specific number or a salary range? And also, do I have to give a specific answer to that? So I know that some of you guys also prefer to leave it to the employer to make you an offer. So here I can say that it's in Germany, I would say it's better to tell them a number, like a salary expectation. So for that, of course, you have to do your homework. But I think that would be my expectation. If I were to interview you, I would expect you to do some market research in advance and tell me about your expectations. Because for me, that's also an indicator how well prepared you are for this job interview and if you've done your research. Then the second part would be if it's better to go for a specific number or a salary range. That's a bit up to you, I would say. I personally prefer a specific number because to me, there's no point in mentioning a salary range, because if you go for a range, what I will remember is the lower end of the range. So for me, I think it's easier to simply get a specific number and then discuss this number instead of going for a range. But as I said, that's a bit up to you. Then yeah, so I hope this answers it. Let me know check what else did we get. Yeah, also another really common question. What happens if the salary I ask for is way too low or too high? So here I just want to encourage you to do your research, of course, and then it's okay to ask for the salary that you came up with and that you find appropriate. If the salary is too high, if it's higher than the budget the company has, then if they are really interested in you, they will still make you an offer and try to talk to you. If it's too low, I think it depends a bit on the, let's say, ethics and the salary framework of the company. If they have a fixed salary framework, they may end up offering you a higher salary anyways, because that's the kind of salary that they allocated for this position. And also, if you end up starting with a lower salary because you asked for a lower salary in the beginning, you can always renegotiate, right? So I wouldn't be too scared of that. In general, if you do your research right, then I think you will come up with an appropriate number. And of course, for instance, if I get a very good profile, but then this person asks for a very low salary, then I would feel that this person is selling himself or herself way below value. So that's not a good thing. That doesn't really give me a good impression. But here, as I said, do your research. And if you do your research right, I think the number you will come up with will not be completely out of line. It should be fine. And then, as I said, if they are interested, they will definitely try to negotiate with you, because it's common to negotiate. Yeah, then another question, let me check. Oh yeah, Also, another really common question, when should I ask about the salary level? Like, is it okay to ask about the salary level in the first interview, for instance? So here, my recommendation would be not to ask about it in the first interview if the company doesn't bring it up. I would rather wait for it until the second or third interview, or maybe wait for them to bring it up. Because here, I think companies pay a lot of attention to a good match in terms of company culture, the team, personality, skills, and so on. And then I think if they, as I said, if they're interested in your profile, they will try to make it work. So I would wait until the second or third interview or until the company brings it up. I think the only case where it's okay to ask in the first interview if they don't bring it up is probably if you're being interviewed for an internship position. Then I think it's fine to ask if it's a paid internship or not, because it makes a bit of a difference for your personal decision, right? So in that case, I think it's completely fine. But in general, for full-time employment, I would wait for them to bring it up, or wait till one of the later, second or third interview rounds. So these were some of the questions that you've sent to me. I know that there were a lot of additional questions. I'd be happy to answer them in another video. In general, I'd be really interested in hearing about your experience. So what your experience with salary negotiation was, and if you've managed to successfully negotiate salary here in Germany. I would love to hear some success stories, and maybe also some failures, because that happens all the time. I've also failed with some salary negotiations. So yeah, let me know about your personal experiences. I would be super curious about that, and all the best for your next salary negotiation.